everybody. Hello, welcome. I hope we are audible. Okay, till now I was speaking, so I am audible. He's visible.
So good evening and welcome back after a long day for most of you. I think most of the test centers are far away and then the stress of the test. And now that you're back, I hope you have gone through the analysis for your specific slot. And right now we basically compare it. And I think to begin with, we can talk a little more about normalization.
Sure.
Well, we're getting a lot of queries along those lines. So let's start with that. And then we'll dive into a comparative analysis of all the three slots and percentiles, etc.
Absolutely. So but to begin with, want responses that we're audible and visible. Harshad is saying Haji. Baki log kahan hai ji? Would love to hear from you all that we're audible, visible, so that we can kickstart this session and we can get into, sir, why quants was so difficult. बस ये इसीलिए तो ये सेशन रखा है. हम आपको अब रीजन बताने वाले हैं. Saral sir has just spoken to the convener at IIM Lucknow. He is going to share the reason of why it was difficult. Hey Abhishek, hi, hello. Okay. Perfect. So, welcome guys. Welcome to the comprehensive, consolidated analysis of, the three slots of CAT 2023. So, before we kickstart all of that, the first thing that we want to tell you is help you understand what normalization actually is. So, I'll take a very, very simple example to explain this. Imagine, and let's forget that there are two parts to the normalization. One is between sections in a slot. Second is across sections. Let's take just one simple example to help you a little. थोड़ी energy transfer कर दो GB, ठीक है? Okay, low. But okay, let's see. ठीक है, वो रात को energize होना चाह रहा है आपको, मतलब ठीक है, it's a good thing to be energized because there are upcoming multiple exams.
There are more exams to come.
And Snap is around the corner. He might be writing NMAT very, very soon. So पीछे से गौरव सर है बोल रहे हैं जैसे आप लोग के साथ वो करते हैं मैराथन्स में, वैसे ही यहाँ पे भी शुरू हो गए हैं. But please solve LRDI slot 1 sets. यार memory based होता है set. We don't have those sets. None of us four as faculty took it. Another 3-4 days.
3-4 days when the response sheets are out, we'd of course get into that.
Correct. So let's get back, okay, to normalization. Simple सी चीज है. समझो slot 1 में 3,50,000 total people have applied. से 3 लाख लोगों ने एग्जाम लिखा है. Let's take for simplicity sake 1 lakh across 3 slots. समझो slot 1 में you realize that of the people who wrote the paper, which is 1 lakh people, the person median question आया ना, बहुत सारा median, तो समझो 70,000 वाला जो रैंक है, ठीक है, बॉटम से यहाँ टॉप से जो 30,000 वाला रैंक है वो which means 70 percentile comes at a particular score. Say that comes at a score of 35. 70 percentile in slot 1, 1 लाख लोग है, 30,000 जिसका रैंक है वो आया at a score of say 35. slot 2 में समझो वो सेम चीज आया at a score of 32. slot 3 में समझो वो सेम चीज आया at a score of 38. Let's assume this. ऊपर मत चढ़ जाना हमारे कह के आपने कैसे बोल दिया slot 3 इजी है कि उसमें 38 होगा और slot 2 difficult है वो. This is just hypothetical, just to explain something to you. So what does that mean? Normalization means when I look at these three slots, the middle slot, which is slot 2, seems to be the go-to slot. So slot 2 का कुछ change नहीं होता है, लेकिन slot 1 जो 32 है, slot 2 जो 32 है वो increase होके 35 तक आ जाएगा and slot 3 जो 38 है वो decrease होके 35 चले जाएगा. It's as simple as that, which means that normalization occurred. Slot 1 got advantage of normalization because it was slot 2 got advantage of normalization because it was most difficult, 32 marks at 70 percentile. Slot 3 got a disadvantage of normalization because it was comparatively easier because it was a score of 38 at 70 percentile. This is what normalization actually means across slots. Now imagine this same thing happening between slots as well and then across slots. Why between slots? Across the sections. So that's how normalization actually operates. You don't need to understand what the formula is and all. If you are interested, वेबसाइट पे है IIM की CAT की वेबसाइट पे कि वो नॉर्मलाइजेशन क्या है, जेई वाला नॉर्मलाइजेशन है.
If you haven't managed to attempt 14 questions in quant, don't even bother with that.
So yeah, I think good analogy. 14 questions in quant, I'm guessing. So there are very few people
then the document won't make much of a sense.
So basically वो है. Second thing is what Dinesh is saying, will the percentiles go down? That's a weird question is the way I've said it, because the framing of the question is not correct. The percentiles at the same score as last year are expected to rise. Okay. The percentiles will not go down. The percentile at the same score as last year expected to rise. What does that mean? Before I explain that, only 9,68 watching, जाके लाइट करो. नहीं तो दिनेश वाली चीज ही लेके समझ जाओ कि परसेंटाइल गिर जाएगा. That will not happen. Go like it. So basically what is going to happen? The funda is very, very simple. The funda is, like I explained, समझो last year 90 percentile 48 marks पे था. इस year because we feel in our analysis कि paper tougher है last year से, same 48 marks पे 90 की जगह 92 हो सकता है, 91 हो सकता है, 93 हो सकता है. अगर हम लोग गलत है in our analysis तो 89 हो सकता है, but I don't think we are wrong. I think our analysis is spot on. We think the paper this year across slots was tougher than than last year. ठीक है? I hope normalization, percentiles and all of those basic things you all have understood. Let's get deeper into our analysis for today. Let's get into our slot wise analysis. This is the paper. The only anomaly, if you look at this paper, is I think slot 2 in verbal, where we heard that there was one question which was compulsory. That's the only anomaly. So everybody in slot 2, I think there are two ways in which it will be approached. Everybody will get marks, or that question will not be considered. I think the latter might happen. Question will not be considered, because if I did not want to attempt that, I don't think I'm good at it. I was forced to attempt it. So why should I lose marks for something which has not happened with anybody else? Ideally, that question will not be considered. If it is, everybody will get marks. So that will happen. If everybody gets marks, then normalization में that could make a difference, right? Because सबको +3 हो जाता है. Ideally हो सकता है खाली 20% को +3 मिलता है, 80% को -1 होता, बट इसके वजह से सबको +3 होता है, तो नॉर्मलाइजेशन माइट हैव देयर माइट बी डिफरेंस. और वो क्वेश्चन ही नहीं कंसिडर होता है तो भी नॉर्मलाइजेशन में थोड़ा इफेक्ट पड़ेगा. सो स्लॉट 3 में थोड़ा ये गेम होगा बिकॉज ऑफ दैट वन क्वेश्चन. ओके, क्लियर? That one question was in Parajumble?
It was in slot 2, one paragraph odd one out question.
I said slot 3, I meant slot 2. My bad.
So slot 2, one paragraph odd one out theta question was marked as a mandatory question.
Yeah.
And that made things a little tricky, but we did not see an equivalence. We did not see a similar scenario in slot 1 or slot 3. So we're pretty sure that was probably a mistake in the exam. So
my bad. I was saying 3 by mistake, thinking 2. It was slot 2. Okay. But that question was theta, so there is no point of negative. No, which is why I said not negative. I said either everybody gets 3 or everybody gets 0.
True.
No negative marking. But the point is वो compulsory नहीं होना चाहिए. Indirectly अच्छा किया वो लोग ने, आप लोग सबसे करवा दिया, क्योंकि theta है, सबको करना चाहिए, nothing to lose. But still, right? That's the whole point. So ideally, that's not something that should be considered. Let's move to RCs and let's move to the man of the moment, Vikrant sir, to take us through VARC in totality.
Okay, so if you look at it, the total number of questions in the section remained the same. In fact, when it comes to the composition of reading comprehension, it has been identical for the last 3 years now. So 4 passages with 4 questions each, leading to 16 questions overall, and quite a few questions were essentially reasoning based or inferential, and some of them were specific details, which is essentially the trend that we have seen anyway. Although last year, I'd say that the number of inferential questions or reasoning based questions was higher as compared to this year, but overall, I think RC, purely in terms of composition, not much of a change, but in verbal ability, we saw paragraph odd one out. It is not getting reflected in this particular slide, but we had 2 questions on parajumbles and 2 questions of paragraph odd one out.
So we're calling all 4 parajumbles.
So far all the 4 are being labeled as parajumbles.
Or parajumbles, the quintessential.
So those 2 extra odd one out questions essentially replaced one conventional parajumble and one para summary. And another interesting thing was that both of them turned out to be non-MCQs. So we had one extra non-MCQ question in a question type where non-MCQ does not even make much of a sense, so that makes the exam easier. At another level, I generally find that people spend more time solving a para summary or a parajumble question, and therefore I think it became overall a more favorable change for us here. And as usual, the difficulty level in para summary was mostly easy to moderate. Parajumbles this time surprisingly were relatively easier. Para completion in the first 2 slots were easy, but in the last slot, one para completion question turned out to be tough, and paragraph odd one out questions were more or less moderate across all the 3 sections. Then we have reading comprehension.
Yep.
Hopefully there.
So just getting there, but before that, 1 or 2 questions which I see here.
Okay.
Sir, in this year, which of the slots overall stand to gain and lose overall? We'll have a chat about that when we talk about the overall part, because it depends section wise, so we'll get there. Slot 3 hard, sir. We all agree all slots were hard. Sir, overall 26 attempts with good accuracy. 26 attempts is equivalent to about 78 marks in total. Say about 90% accuracy, you're looking at 60 to 65, which could be a very, very good score. So it depends on the definition of good. If good is about 90%, then I think you've done very, very well. If good is about 80% also, I think you would have done decently, because we were just discussing that offline. I think a score of about 50, 55 should easily be about 95 percentile or so, which means you'll be knocking at the door. Try out the college predictor to know at 95 basis your profile which colleges you could get. So that is helpful for you to know whether 95 works for you or not. Basis your profile. Okay, that's important. And we'll come back to more questions. I thought Lucknow might make the exam easier, but it took me by surprise. Blame me. I had to eat my own words. I've been stating for a long time कि Lucknow easy देता है. Lucknow ने quant easy दिया 2017 में, इस बार भी easy होगा. I think problem वो नहीं है. Lucknow बहुत extremist लोग हैं. ठीक है, यहाँ तो एकदम easy देते हैं, यहाँ बहुत difficult देते हैं. That is why it is known as hell. Lucknow is known as hell. Real definition of hell today. They made it very easy. It was very difficult because you needed 78 marks out of 102 in quant to get 99 in 2017. इधर लग रहा है 25 mark में भी 99 आ सकते हैं शायद इस साल. So extremist people, let's get back to where we were.
Okay, so a lot of people complaining about quant being difficult, which was actually the case. Yeah. So now if we talk about reading comprehension, say although the composition was identical, but there was some change in the difficulty level of the subject matter of the passages. So if you look at slot 1, there were a couple of passages which were easy to read, and then there were a couple which were moderate to difficult. Slot 2, on the other hand, had no outright easy passage, although if I have to pick, the first two that you see were passages that you could read with relative ease, but then the book review and the positivist history would have challenged quite a few of us because of the jargon that was thrown in, and in case you haven't read a lot of Eon essays coming into this, they would have probably stretched you. And but slot 3, and in fact GB read it, GB was in slot 3, I think Tarun sir was also there. So the consensus all across among even the faculty members, some of our other team members, is that the passages were very difficult to read, and there was this one passage which was relatively easy, factual, and probably should have been preferred. Yeah. But then the other passages, particularly I think the romanticism one, is getting a lot of
see, that is attention. Wrong. It is not difficult, it is very difficult. I stated in that analysis, I'm stating it again. This is a very difficult romanticism, and I would want to meet the author. I'm really interested.
So that's one. Okay, so I think purely if you go by the subject matter, the difficulty level is, in fact, they're arranged in the increasing order of difficulty. And then the other surprise came in the question types itself, or the composition of answer choices. So unlike the last couple of years, this time around, the examiners chose to spend more time creating ambiguous answer choices, and as a result, there are at least five, six questions in every slot where the options were confusing. There is a particular question type which I generally end up calling further application question, where you infer something from the passage, then you apply it to each of the answer choices to arrive at the right answer choice. Those questions, once again, they increased in number in every slot. In fact, in practically every passage, you had one such question where you had to deal with some of those analogous situations or hypothetical situations. But even there, because the passages were difficult in slot 3, that will still gain in difficulty. In slot 2, that was the one that I wrote, and Savitri ma'am also wrote. In slot 2, we noticed that the two passages that were easy had questions that were tricky, and the passages that were difficult at least had one or two questions that were still easy to moderate, but then that got balanced out by the difficulty level of the passage itself. So overall, I would say that the difficulty level in RC, slot 1 was the easiest, slot 2 a little tougher, slot 3 turned out to be the toughest of them all. In VA, more or less, I think slot 1 and slot 2 were equal, where slot 3 appears to be marginally more challenging than the previous two slots.
Agreed.
And
that is what would lead to the normalization as well. That's how the normalization impact will come in, which probably means slot 3 will get the maximum advantage of normalization in VARC. Slot 2 post that, slot 3 post that. So that's how predominantly normalization would operate. So please do keep that in mind in case you're wondering कि normalization कैसा होगा. ठीक है? That's about it when it comes to VARC. Seeing a couple of questions. Am I the only one for whom VARC was much difficult as compared to DILR and Quant? I could attempt 21 questions in mocks, but I was unable to attempt 15 today. It was tricky.
I don't know. I wouldn't say that for slot 2 for sure. I think DILR there was tougher, but then that's just me talking. So
I would say slot 3 VARC was difficult for sure. In fact, Gaurav sir's here, Tarun sir's here, I am there. We felt 2 sets in DILR were doable actually in slot 3. But RC में मेरे को 2 RCs categorically doable दिखे नहीं. Do I see Guru Priya? I took slot 3, felt VARC is the easy part. Great. I just hope that does not mean कि VARC में बुरा गया. बाकी उससे बहुत ज़्यादा बुरा गया इसलिए relatively वो easy लग रहा है. I hope वो फंडा नहीं है. Funda is you actually felt that was easier. But that means your preparation level was at that level that it was there. But relatively speaking, I think verbal VARC was tougher in slot 3 as compared to the other 2 slots. I'm looking at around 14 verbal, 12 DILR, 6 in quant, slot 3, NCOBC, will I clear cutoff? 6 in quant, 80 percentile, yeah, dicey. Last year 12 था, वो कम होके 9, 10 पे आ सकता है, but 6 dicey. Suhani is crying for romanticism. Don't worry, Netflix में The Romantics बोल की सीरीज है, आज रात को वो देख लेना. Okay, Gurupriya Singh, no sir, okay, ठीक है. She's saying already seen. Okay, lovely. ठीक है, lovely. Okay, cool. Let's move to DILR. Over to Gaurav.
So I think
that's it.
There's one slide on percentiles.
Oh,
so I think on the whole, if we look at it, we are approximately looking at around 36 marks for 99 percentile. When it comes to VRC, so although RC was a little on the trickier side, VA as compared to last year was a shade easier, and I think that balances out. But on the whole, we'd say that around 36 is where you'd get 99.
So to give an example, if I might go ahead. So last year it was about 41, 42. So which means
99 last year was 38.5, 39. 99 was 38.5.
38.5. 38, 39.
So one question.
So say 39. So slot 1 we are saying was similar to probably a little tougher. So let's say this is about 36 to 38. Roughly. Slot 2 we are saying slightly tougher.
Slightly tougher,
right?
so
slightly tougher, so it will come down.
35, 30.
So let's say 35 to 36. Slot 3 we are saying more tougher, probably 33 to 34. This is what it means as of now, but we need you to fill in more data. We need you to go ahead and use the score calculator, fill in the data so that we are able to go ahead and state whether ये है कि नहीं, and we are able to go ahead and predict it slightly better. This is what it seems right now. But what it means is, in the actual CAT scorecard you get, you won't get the raw score. You will get scaled score. तो उसमें क्या होगा, आपको पता नहीं रहेगा आपको 33, 34 है, ये क्या है, because वो scale हो जाएगा. Right?
It should reach that.
They scale it. But this is what I'm saying. A 33 there would be scaled to whatever that number is to get a 99. That is what it roughly means. बाद में आके मत बोलना हो सर मेरा तो ये 99 इस पे है. Okay, फंडे बहुत होते हैं इसके अंदर. Let's move to DILR. Over to Gaurav sir and Saral sir for DILR.
Okay, आइए sir. So basically we are talking about raw scores जो आपने बताया है. We are not talking about the scaled scores. Hello everyone. Not a very good day as far as quant is concerned.
So not only quant, even the complete paper, I would say it was slightly on the tougher side, and people had expectations from IIM Lucknow that it's going to be a little easier. In the last few years, the actually difficulty level increased in 2022 with respect to 21. So we feel that okay, because it has already increased last year, this year it might go down. IIM Lucknow has that history as well. Nothing like that happened, but one good thing that I was actually talking about this outside as well. So someone said that why are people from our team only, that why are people so sad about this? The paper was difficult, to bura kyun lag raha hai? So I asked her that, okay, if there are 50 questions in the exam and you attempt 8, how would you feel? She said, I would cry all night. And then I told her, what if I tell you that you are the topper of the exam? So it does not make a difference how much have you scored. What makes a difference is that how have you fared with respect to the other people. It's a competitive exam. Please do not look at it this way that out of 100 I should be having a score of 45, 50, only then I will feel good.
Your parents will still judge you.
Yeah,
they would.
But this is the game of percentile, not the game of percentage.
Out, they would not.
Percentile का game है. So guys, before we'll start with the analysis of LRDI and quant, I think lots of people are watching us and not even 10% likes are there. So first of all, let's start by liking this session.
And your percentile is directly proportional to the number of likes here.
Yes,
we have been keep telling you in all
likes
these
badhao,
sessions.
percentile badhao.
So let's start with it, guys. So one thing that I want to start with here, अगर आप देखें तो एक मीडियन यहाँ आपको दिख रहा है, मीडियन यहाँ भी दिख रहा है,
मीडियन
यहाँ भी दिख रहा है, which is
so all three slots.
or median. They have not asked a question on median in the last few years. I don't remember CAT asking a question on median in the last 6-7 years. Even in quant,
Not even
forget
quant.
about LRDI. And this year we had one set in each of the three, which was
The
based
first
upon
set
median.
had mean, median, mode, all three, and I think range as well in the first set. In the second set, there was median. In the third set, maximum, minimum, and median. These three values were used. Okay.
And another thing, Gaurav sir, which I'm just noticing now, no question on Venn diagram.
No question on games and
tournament.
which
Some of
we
these
believe
very common types that
Yes.
we have been talking about them, that okay, there will be questions on these. No question on those types, right? Matrix arrangement has been there. It has always been there.
the savior.
Roots and networks.
It has been there in slot 1 and slot 3.
It was roots and networks in the first slot,
Slot
in the
3 is
third
also
slot as well. And not a very difficult set question on roots and networks. I can say that about slot 3. I don't know what was the exact question in slot 1, but slot 3, it was not at all a difficult question. It was doable.
And one more thing that I see, just one DI caselet over here, no DI in slot 1, slot 2, though all the sets which were there in LR, they all used numbers a lot. What I see in all of the 4 sets which were there in slot 2, and people told me about slot 1 as well, that in all the sets we see some numbers being used. There was nothing like, logic based questions, for example, we have previously, where just logic is used. You just make a table, you arrange the people, you arrange their colors and cities and all. But in every way, I see median over here, and there was this question which was based upon averages, this question which was based upon some numbers and all. We have to make some rows and columns, and the most difficult one, which was this only, right? So it was even talking about median, and then some asterisk was put in, and they said that if one asterisk is there, then at least one statement is correct, 2 are there, 2 are correct. So that ways, everything was more of numbers this time. That's what we saw here.
For slot 3, I could see the same thing for this. So there were huge, like so many numbers in this. So basically you just have to make a table, and if you can maintain your patience level while doing this, so I would say that 15 to 18 minutes you could have done this one. Okay, but like this was tricky. Okay, fine. We have used the word tricky, but I would say that this was lengthy. Okay, and
Only
little straightforward.
Would say it was lengthy. Okay. Normal sane human beings will not say it was lengthy. They will say it was difficult.
Okay, so slot 3, Gautam sir has already done the analysis. I could see 2 sets which were doable. Okay, in this slot. So one was roots and networks, definitely. And the second one was this offline and online, जिसमें 5 months का कुछ data दिया हुआ था, January, February, March, April, May, and minimum value, maximum value, and the median was given. Okay.
पर यहाँ पे दोनों doable के साथ tricky लिखा हुआ है.
Tricky तो था.
Not
Tricky
only
तो
that they
था.
are doable,
Tricky,
just,
definitely.
we can't say that it was an easy set because they were tricky as well.
For example, if we go back to these this online offline coaching वाला set, online offline का अगर आप questions पढ़ोगे ना, questions पढ़ के लगता है multiple cases है.
Yes.
Because the question stated February में, question stated February में क्या हो सकता है? February में you can go ahead and which of the following is possible? 50, only 40. only 50, only 80, 50 or 80, 50 or 30 or 80
or 40
और 30 ऐसा कुछ. वो देख के लगता है यार, अगर इनमें से पूछ रहा है कुछ हो सकता है, मतलब मल्टीपल केसेस बन रहे होंगे. शायद इसकी वजह से कुछ होगा. या फिर 2 statements are given, how many of them could be true? Only 1, only 2, both, neither 1 and 2. ये देख के लगता है केसेस होंगे, जबकि आंसर आ रहा है खाली एक यूनिक. So that is where also it gets tricky, because आप 2-3 सॉल्व कर लोगे, फिर ऐसा क्वेश्चन आता है, आपको लगता है यार मैंने कुछ गलती कर दी होगी, ये छोड़ता हूँ, आगे बढ़ता हूँ, जो हुआ है वो हुआ है. तो that is where the trick is, whether you have the confidence in yourself कि मैंने जो किया है सही है, I don't get overwhelmed with the situation, let's move ahead with it, which is why we are saying कि 2 हम ये बोल तो दे रहे हैं, पर इसका ये मतलब नहीं कि 10 out of 10 आप सही भी करोगे, 30 out of 30 आ जाएगा, उस पे 99 होगा या 95 होगा, वैसे ही. That's not the point. The point is these 2 should have been attempted, उसमें as many as possible that you can do, and I'm sure the same thing would be there in slot 1 and 2 as well.
So for slot 3, slot 2, slot 1, if I'll talk about overall level of difficulty, like in relative terms for slot 1, 2, 3, so I would think that slot 3, don't go with this word easy tha. Easy nahi tha, it was comparatively easier. Okay, among the 3
Easier than
slots.
the other one.
Yes, easier than the first.
May someone is saying that please AC wala set answer bata dijiye. Ragul, please just wait for 3-4 days because DI sets are very difficult to actually we just
slot 3 वाला है.
Slot 3
AC set.
हाँ AC set ये रहा मेरे पास है.
He's talking about the AC set.
AC set है ये रहा आंसर है.
Gaurav says only please just-
You have the answers as well.
अरे मेरे पास
So
तो
वो
ये
2 set
मतलब
roots and network and median वाला हमने डाल दिया है slot 3 analysis.
Give me some idea about that. I mean, what all
Values.
values you got, right?
Values,
हाँ,
yes.
तो उससे भी idea
But
मिल
ऐसा
जाता है.
स्टूडेंट्स को याद कहाँ होगा?
हमको भी
Questions,
याद
I
नहीं
would
होगा.
say.
Probably
आपको
answers
थोड़ा
याद हो
बहुत
सकते
समझाना
हैं.
है, just to help them you can do.
हाँ, but वैसे 3-4 दिन में आ ही जाएगा यार. Once the answer sheet is out, of course we'll be discussing all
solve the
those
exact
questions
question for you.
within a day. तो जैसे ही आ जाता है उसके बाद फटाफट डिस्कस कर लेंगे. Okay, so that was about LRDI. So more or less we can say slot 1, slot 2 had a moderate to difficult LRDI and slot 3 was slightly on the easier side with respect to that.
We
Though,
can say moderate. This was moderate and these two
yeah,
were
these were moderate to
difficult.
difficult. So ये compensate कर रहा है basically verbal ability को. ऐसा समझ लीजिए. Verbal ability was slightly more difficult in slot 3 and at the same time it was slightly easier.
So moderate,
difficult
and both of them moderate to difficult. So good number of attempts in slot 1 कितना होना चाहिए?
So I think the way to go about it and look at it is I think in slot 3 we were very clear. If you attempted 10, roughly 10 questions, I'd say about 80-85% accuracy.
Yes,
I think
8
you've done
correct.
a very good job. 95 plus to ho guaranteed, could be very close to 99.
Right.
Slot 2, Saril sir, according to you?
Slot 2 में because it was moderate to difficult and I see that
7.
see these two sets, this is this one set and apart from that this set of balls, these are the two sets that people would have tried. I mean there was a question where they were going to an amusement park, there were some ticket prices as well. Apart from that the other one where some balls were taken out and the total was given, the average was given. But what I felt actually in LRDI slot 2, that is that the sets were almost of the same type. You can't clearly figure out that this is easy and this is difficult. And in such a case, the choice of the question becomes very important. A person, let us say, started with this set, right? Now all of them are looking alike, and by mistake you have picked up the most difficult one among them. So you might end up spending 14-15 minutes and not getting any answers. That not only is the waste of time, but also the waste of confidence. At that stage you'd start feeling that okay, I would not be able to do now anything because 15 minutes have gone past. So because of this problem, I feel it will be slightly lesser with respect to slot 3. I think 6 to 7 questions can easily fetch a person 95+%, in my opinion. Right. What I feel, because one set was okay, but second set, finding both the easy sets and doing them, right? It's pretty difficult in my opinion. So a good attempt, I would say, would be 7 to 8 questions in the second slot. And I think slot 1 would almost be
what
like
I think is from students psychology point of view, slot 1 का जिसने भी analysis देखा होगा before entering slot 2, तो यहाँ पे mean median mode ये mind में रहा होगा, and they could have entered this set, which is the most difficult.
The median based set is there, right?
हाँ.
इसलिए हमने बोला भी था slot 2 वाले चले जाओ, slot 3 वाले भी मत रहो. But इससे मेरे को one thing which I want to state, which I think everybody is stating is, I think you will see a lot of jump in percentiles this time. What does that mean? That means like everybody is stating एक सेट हर जगह हमें लग रहा था कि हम कर पाएंगे, लेकिन उस सेकंड सेट में शायद सब नहीं कर पाएंगे. तो probably last year 80 percentile was 14, this year might be 12-13, but 85 last year was 18, 90 was 21, 95 was 24, 20. यहाँ पे वो जंप बहुत ज्यादा स्टीप दिख सकता है आपको. सडनली 80 to 90 में 3 या 4 मार्क में वो फर्क दिख सकता है, तो लास्ट ईयर 6 से 8 मार्क में दिख रहा था. फिर 90 to 95 जो लास्ट ईयर 5-6 मार्क में दिख रहा था, that could be a 3 mark. The jump in percentiles would be very very steep, because beyond 2 तो no slot we are talking about, beyond 2 slot.
Absolutely.
No slot. So मतलब अगर 2 सेट कर दिए और पूरे सही है 30 मार्क्स पे, you might even be 99.5, 99.6, because थर्ड सेट बहुत कम लोग गए हैं. So look at it from that perspective. If you are one of those who's done 7-8, like Saral sir was saying or Gaurav sir was saying, and your accuracy is good, imagine you got all 7-8 correct, I would not be surprised if 95 nahi, probably you're knocking at 98, 99 also.
Right.
So just keep that in mind. So don't lose hope here. Thinking ये क्या हो गया मैं 1.5 सेट ही कर, भाई 1.5 सेट 99 हो जाए, सरप्राइज नहीं. हम I don't think any of us would be shocked if we see that happening, because we've experienced this personally here. Right.
So Ashish, you are asking about slot 2. Slot 2, I would say that average student, for an average student, we have already mentioned 6 to 7 are good attempts. Okay. So if you'll go by this, one complete slot, another 2-3 questions you could have done if your accuracy is good. So that will fetch you a good percentile. So that's it about this. Okay. So net correct for 99
percentile. I think slot 1 should be around 8 to 9.
For 99%.
So we can say, so last year we were saying that overall जो था वो 33 के आसपास था. This year I think slot 1 and 2 पे आप 1-1.5 question कम कर लो. You should say probably 28, 29. Right now could be lower.
Right.
But I'll say 28 to 30 for slot 1 and 2.
9 to 10.
Yeah.
Number of questions.
Or we could say 28 to 30 as score.
Yes,
right.
Below that we could probably just write it. And similarly slot 2 I think we are saying more or less same.
More or less the same.
More or less same था. Might be 1-2 mark इधर उधर कम हो जाए, but similar. We'll say probably 28 to 30. Slot 3
will go a little higher.
1 mark
could
more.
go up by 1 or 2 marks.
One question more.
Yeah.
One question more.
So you could probably say 30 to 32. Maybe.
10 to 11
Yeah, could be 30 to 32.
Qs.
Yeah.
Right.
But once again, you know, all of this comes with that caveat that we need more students to fill in the score calculator for us to come up with a more accurate prediction. Right now, this is basis what we understand and basis what you all have spoken till now. Yeah.
And last year, our percentile predictor was
more or less spot on.
bang on. We can
more or
say
less
that.
spot on, exactly. मतलब 0.15 के range में चल रहा था.
All right. So, कौन करेगा analysis इसका?
Fun. This is where
इधर.
the elephant in the room.
Okay.
So once again, if you see, I mean, this was one section which was almost of the same difficulty level in all 3 slots. Even the question types were almost the same.
नहीं,
I mean, when you just
I am
look
of
at the
a
question.
slightly different opinion. मैंने first slot solve किया. I solved around 15-16 questions of slot 1. I was available. And then slot 3, it was my slot. So I could see 2 or 3 sitters in slot 1. Okay, there were 2-3 sitters in slot 1, which was missing in slot.
But Gaurav sir, एक difference है. You are doing it at home, right? Doing it in the exam
I
time
agree,
and doing it at home is very
Second, जो
different.
जिनको ये सिटर बोल रहे हैं ना वो फॉर्मूला आपको याद ही नहीं होगा. वो आर एंड मिनट्स वाला मॉड 30h माइनस 11/2 इनको याद था, हम लोग को याद ही नहीं होगा वो क्लॉक वाला.
पढ़ाया है मैंने बच्चों को. और I'm talking about that PNC वाला question. Sitter एकदम. Sir वो slot 1 में I'm talking about that permutation combination
So polygon
question.
वाला you could have done.
Polygon question, हाँ.
In slot 3,
Slightly
that was one
lengthy
sitter.
था, but अच्छा.
हाँ, lengthy.
But we did not find any sitter in slot 2. I
Slot
mean,
2
no
sitters.
sitters were there. We
No sitters.
hardly found.
Yes.
Rather, when I see the type of questions, it's almost the similar throughout.
Agreed,
Bilkul.
agreed.
They have created all same kind of questions. I mean, the feeling would be the same. If you do the algebra questions, every question looks like just leave it, right? Looking at the equations and you have variables in the powers. The moment we see something like 2 to the power 2x, 2 to the power x square, so we leave that question.
Right.
Log में भी question वैसे simple वाले नहीं थे.
Simple वाले नहीं थे किसी में भी.
मतलब शायद आप वाले में भी ऐसा ही रहा
It
होगा.
was not simple.
वो AP वाला log वाला था वो भाई काफी टाइम
AP वाला it was time consuming.
Even we had log of 25 to the power something base 0.0008 plus something. So that was, so basically.
ऐसा कुछ था log base 4 2 to the power x
No,
minus
it was
9.
log 2 to the power x. Yes, a ganda question that. Log of 2 to the power x minus 9 to the base 3 upon log of 4 to the base 3.
Yeah.
This was one term.
First
Another
term was
term
half.
was
First term was half.
First term was half. Another term was log of 2 raised to the power x plus 17/2 divided by log 4 to the base 5. So not a straightforward question on logarithms as well, which we have seen previously. So log difficult topic है, उसको और difficult बना दिया because of these terms. So yes, the overall level of difficulty definitely.
But now I see one thing actually, which probably we did not notice from a student's perspective. Every year when we have 3 sections, one of the sections is a little bit on the easier side. The other 2 are, let's say, difficult or moderate. This year there was no section where they could have scored.
This way you could relax.
So probably the overall overall score at which a 99 percentile would occur might go down a lot.
Yes.
Agreed.
So we
Because
have to
where would you
change-
score?
We have to change our notion about I am Lucknow.
Extremes, I told you, extremes. There is one thing I want to add, which I think I am Lucknow did beautifully this time is, now that's a good way of looking at it as faculty, not probably as students, but if you look at the way they've created questions, slot 1 में AP का question geometry वाले में था. You know, geometry वो triangle बना दिया था और AP कर दिया था.
Right,
ये है AP में. यहाँ पे वो same वो लोग ने log में दिया.
Log में कर दिया.
They are mixing topics. दे आर ऑल्सो डूइंग दैट एंड दे आर टेस्टिंग यू. तो अगर आपको एपी नहीं आता तो आप ज्योमेट्री नहीं कर पा रहे, अगर आपको ज्योमेट्री नहीं आता तो एपी नहीं कर पा रहे, अगर लॉग नहीं आता तो एपी नहीं कर पाओगे, एपी नहीं आता तो लॉग नहीं कर पाओगे.
Slot 2 में भी ज्योमेट्री में जीपी पे क्वेश्चन.
So same. So they are mixing this.
Type has been the same. Exactly.
So you know, अगर हम थोड़ा साइड हट के देखे, you know, as a third party, I would say it was a very interesting paper set, but it is very difficult to do this and manage this in 40 minutes in that tense environment, considering this is the third section of the exam. Everything going against you. So I think that is where the problem is. बाद में कभी कोई यहाँ पे अच्छे लोग होंगे जिनको क्वांट पसंद है, इंजीनियर 2-4 होंगे, या कोई नॉन इंजीनियर भी हो जिसको पसंद है, वो साइड में कभी देखेंगे ना, आपको मजा आएगा इस क्वांट में. बट द प्रॉब्लम इज वो मजा इस पेपर में ड्यूरिंग दोस 40 मिनट्स नहीं था, इसलिए गौरव सर को स्लॉट 1 इजी लगा. उन्होंने वो 40 मिनट्स में नहीं किया, वो बाहर आके अलग से बैठ के चिल मार के, यू नो, चप्पल वप्पल उतार के, पानी वानी रख के साइड में चाय वाय लेके, वो इजी लगता है. वो ड्यूरिंग दोस 40 मिनट्स चेंज हो जाता है सिनेरियो.
Anyways, the question looks straight away someone gives you that question, but in the exam time you have to find that out, right? No one tells you that this is a sitter. You have to find out the question, and every question is looking like a difficult question, so you are always, I mean, in a fear that the next question that I'm going to try, I don't know whether I would be able to do it or not. With that fear, things don't look that easy actually. But yes, more or less it has been almost of the same type, right, throughout. If I talk about the percentiles, right, so what can be a percentile? Definitely would go down with respect to the last year.
A lot.
Right? And a 99 percentile, आपको याद पक्का ही होगा last year कितने पे थी?
So 80 percentile last year 12 पे था.
So last year,
and this was the lowest because DILR was 15 पे and verbal was 17 पे. So this was actually the lowest at 12. And we were discussing this 80 percentile का क्या मतलब हो जाता है? 80 percentile का basically मतलब हो जाता है, you know, that you are in the top 20% of the students. 3-4 question, you know, I'm still keeping there. I think 3-4 question हो जाएंगे. I don't think 80 percentile पे ज्यादा फर्क पड़ेगा. Maybe goes down by 1 or 2 marks. I think उसके बाद again the same thing which we were talking about earlier, जो आप sudden jumps देखोगे, यहाँ पे भी वही jumps देखोगे आप. 99 percentile last year once again was in early 30s. This year I don't see 99 percentile crossing 25 to 27. उस रेंज से ज्यादा मेरे को तो, because you know 27 also means अगर मैं रफली 80% एक्यूरेसी भी ले लूँ, यू आर बेसिकली सेइंग 10 राइट 2 रॉन्ग, 28 आएगा. दैट इज नॉट वेरी इजी टू डू इन दिस पेपर. 10 राइट 2 रॉन्ग इन 40 मिनट्स डिफिकल्ट है. तीनों सेक्शन डिफिकल्ट थे, एंड में ये आ रहा है, कर रहे हो, हर क्वेश्चन लेंदी है, पता नहीं आगे चढ़ के नेक्स्ट में जाओ. I don't think it was easy. I don't think it was doable. I would stick to this fact, what we've all been stating, that probably 25 to 27. And the reason I'm not putting it across slots is because, like Gaurav sir and Saral sir stated, all 3 slots were more or less the same. Difficult, more or less the same. So that's what it appears to be. Yes. Anything else that we feel in terms of let's look at a few questions. Sir, AP plus right triangle question slot 1, what was the answer?
बताएं.
1.5x वाला हमने किया था ना?
नहीं, slot 1.
Slot 1 वाला. Slot 1 वाला.
1.5x
It was I think 4.
4, 8 and 12.
4, 8.
4, 8 and 12. वो AP था ना, तो 4 था. Correct. You're right. Okay, can we connect somewhere? Okay, where? Rahul,
we are already
answer
connected
was
through this port.
Rahul's answer was 2.
ये सब फिर तो देखने में ही लग गए क्वांट को.
हाँ, वो सही
I
है.
believe
Good.
ये क्वांट का ऐसा, ये क्वांट का ऐसा
I would
पेपर
agree.
था
I would agree.
जिसके बारे में फ्यूचर में बहुत चर्चा होने वाली है.
Yeah, like Tanish is saying, देखने लगा. I think that was the right way of doing it also. I don't see anything wrong in that. Sir, आपके log वाले का आंसर क्या था? Log base 4 7/2.
हाँ, log 7/2 base 4.
7/2. Sir, I have done 9 VRC, 8 DLR, 15
Option
quant,
C था.
but accuracy is less.
वो तो चेंज हो सकता है.
भाई बहुत डिफिकल्ट है बोलना वो. अब 32 क्वेश्चंस आप बोल रहे हो आपने किए, एक्यूरेसी लेस आपको देखना पड़ेगा. हमने आपको बॉल पार्क दे दिया है. ओवरऑल का अगर हम बॉल पार्क जाए, ओवरऑल का बॉल पार्क दे देते हैं, विच विल हेल्प यू प्रॉब्ली अंडरस्टैंड अ लिटिल बिट. 80 परसेंटाइल सर 30 पे बनना चाहिए. क्यों बनना चाहिए भाई? बनना चाहिए मतलब भाई होना ही होगा. ठीक है, वो देखना होगा. So like you see, last year we said 80 percentile was at 36. If you look at this, right? तो इससे कम तो जाएगा यार, most probably 36 से तो कम लग रहा है क्या मैं जाएगा 36 से कम जाएगा वो बोल रहा है 30 तक जो आप मान रहे हो चलो हमने दे दिया 30 दे देते हैं 30 to 32 का रेंज दे देते हैं इसको बट आई विल रिपीट आई विल नॉट बी सरप्राइज्ड इफ 80 पे ज्यादा चेंज ना हो आई एम वंस अगेन रिपीटिंग दैट चेंजेस आपको यहाँ बहुत देखेंगे बिकॉज 80 पे क्या 12 क्वेश्चन आपको करने वो 12 क्वेश्चन अक्रॉस द पेपर मोस्ट प्रॉब्ली मिल जाएंगे जैसा भी पेपर हो सो बट यहाँ पे जो आप जम्स देखोगे ना जैसे यहाँ देखो 80 to 90 वी आर सीइंग 13 मार्क्स लास्ट ईयर I will not be surprised if this falls down to 8 marks. We were just discussing offline with Saral sir. वो early 40 के आसपास हो सकता है. So I will not be surprised अगर वैसा कुछ हो कि ये 40 to 42 हो जाए. ठीक है 40 to 42 के आसपास हो सकता है. 95% है वो 60. Once again आप अगर देखो 12 मार्क. हाँ हैंड राइटिंग के लिए कोई एक बंदा मेरे साथ हमेशा होना चाहिए. मेरी आवाज पे जाओ. ठीक है दैट्स इनफ बट हैंड राइटिंग के लिए गौरव सर आ गए हैं अभी मुझे हेल्प करने के लिए मैं इनको साथ में लेके ही चलता हूँ वैसे 90% 40 सो 90% 40 to 42 इज व्हाट वी वर स्टेटिंग मैं थोड़ा साइड हो जाता हूँ या 40 to 42 के आसपास आप उधर आ जाइए आराम से
बच्चे ये भी पूछ रहे हैं कि नए सर को इंट्रोड्यूस करा दो बता दो
अच्छा नए सर इंट्रोड्यूस नहीं हुए अच्छा आइए
नए सर कौन है
सो ये नए सर है आपके तरुण सर बहुत पुराने सर है
ये नए नहीं है ये जब मेरे बचपन से पढ़ा रहे हैं
हम सबके सर रहे हुए हैं हम सबके सर रहे हुए हैं काफी पुराने सर हैं ये सारे मॉक्स में जो आपको गिला शिकवा है वो सब इन सर की मेहरबानी है तो एकदम
he's the power behind all the mock papers
एकदम
आई थिंक LRDI की प्रैक्टिस तो हमने पहले अच्छी से करवा दी थी
एकदम मजे से जो गिला शिकवा है इनको आज आप बोल दो
आप सर mock 24 की रिकॉर्डिंग में दिखेंगे बच्चों को
mock 24 अगर आप देखना चाहो ZAT से पहले हाइपोथेटिकली इफ यू वांट टू लुक एट अ फ्यू कैट मॉक्स एंड सी थोड़े क्वेश्चंस मॉक 24 की रिकॉर्डिंग क्वांट DILR भी शायद 24 सो यू कैन हैव अ लुक एट हिम दिस इज तरुण सर with us and you'll see a lot more of him as we keep going forward सर अब कौन सा हाँ हम वो बाकी what next पे ना आते हैं 5 मिनट पे पहले ये कर लेते हैं what next is important I agree with you because अब क्या लग रहा है झटका लग गया एक अच्छा नहीं गया वो हो गया बट आई लाइक द एटीट्यूड की झटके के बाद एटलीस्ट आई एम क्लियर ठीक है एक ऑफ डे गया बाकी में मैं कुछ करूंगा सो द एटीट्यूड इज राइट बट गिव अस 5 मिनट्स बिफोर वी cater to that attitude
so we're talking about 95 percentile
so last year यहाँ पे देखो कितना है we are saying roughly 11.5-12 मार्क again I will not be surprised वो 12 मार्क की जगह 8 मार्क 10 मार्क so probably say 50 के आसपास at for 95 and 99 you see a 22 here this is what we were discussing offline की 70 to 75 लग रहा है पर as we go deeper into that सारल सर की बात जो 65 के आसपास था that could be true so range बहुत लंबा है 70 to 75 पहले बोला था 65 भी true 65 to 70 बोल देते हैं अभी के लिए but we'll need more data to validate could be slightly higher could be slightly lower difficult to predict at this point in time without more data
but that's because of overall difficulty level of
exactly
the paper, overall
exactly.
it's being difficult
overall correct so एक तो अक्रॉस स्लॉट्स हमने बात कर दी एक ओवरऑल भी लाइक सरल सर वो सेइंग कि कोई रिलीफ ही नहीं मिल रही है यार मतलब किसी ने बोला सर फट गई तो वो हर सेक्शन में फट रही थी यार प्रॉब्लम ही वो है यही बात है तरुण सर थैंक्स फॉर गिविंग टफ क्वेश्चंस इन ग्रुप सो वी गॉट गुड प्रैक्टिस थैंक यू नवनीत सिंह इज सेइंग so in the toppers batch so I think that would have been very helpful for all the people in quant वो सारे difficult questions वही उसका एक स्क्रीनशॉट हमें आज दिखा स्पेशली वो नंबर्स वाले वो इंडिसेस वाले जो इतने सारे क्वेश्चंस तरुण सर दे रहे थे वैसे ही इंडिसेस आए थे 2-3 so that would have really helped I think BYJU'S mocks were helpful thanks Tarun sir also for helping in Telegram group no ledger so also let us know your actual name no ledger good night sir I think it was the worst day of my life let's make it the start of the best portion of your life in 2 minutes sir अब कौन सी एग्जाम हम उसी पे आने वाले हैं let's go to the 99.5 यार यहाँ पे once again I state अब थोड़े ऐसे लोग होंगे अच्छे स्टूडेंट्स जो वो होंगे यहाँ पे भी एक जंप आपको मोस्ट प्रोबेबली दिखेगा the good students will suddenly start moving away from the crowd the distance will suddenly start increasing so don't be surprised if there is a jump here as well ये jump यहाँ पे खाली 7-8 मार्क्स था this could be about 12-13 marks this year because that's the name of the game that's how we've understood what the paper was this year that's our take on it the good students will start moving ahead and away from the crowd now so this probably I would say you can add about 80-82 I would agree 80-82 के आसपास 80s में जाएगा ये for sure and then 99.9 again you will see a further jump. यहाँ पे already आपने देखा था 17, यहाँ पे वो probably 18-20 भी जा सकता है. So you could say 97 to 100 के आसपास. So this is where the jumps will happen, and this is how we are expecting the jumps to be this time. Again, let's see what it is. We'll be able to predict better as more and more of you use the score calculator. But as of now, this is what it looks like. ठीक है? मोए मोए हो गया, वेरी गुड. IM को डाइवर्सिटी भी चाहिए. अच्छा, ये एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है जो काफी लोग बोल रहे थे और मैंने सोचा इस पे भी थोड़ी बात कर लेते हैं. इस पे एक अलग से वीडियो भी बनाएंगे. नहीं, मैं बता रहा हूँ डाइवर्सिटी का हिपोक्रेसी क्यों नहीं है. ठीक है, इस पे हम अलग एक वीडियो भी बनाएंगे. बट जस्ट टू एक्सप्लेन टू यू, नाउ इमेजिन somebody like IM Lucknow or IM Kozhikode, they give 60 to 65% weightage to CAT. The remaining 35 to 40% weightage is to other parameters like 10, 12, undergrads, gender, engineer, non-engineer. उसमें भी आर्ट्स अगर हो तो कुछ ज़्यादा स्पेसिफिक मिलता है, बीकॉम हो तो कुछ अलग, स्टफ लाइक दैट. नाउ आई विल जस्ट गिव यू एन एग्जांपल. ऐसे पेपर में अगर आप एक इंजीनियर हो और आपका प्रोफाइल विच इज 10, 12, अंडर ग्रेजुएशन, यू नो, ऑल ऑफ दिस इज सिमिलर टू से अ नॉन इंजीनियर एंड से अ नॉन इंजीनियर फीमेल, you will probably need to score in such a paper 30 to 35 more marks in CAT out of 198 marks to reach the level of that non-engineer female student with 10, 12 undergrads at your same level, at the same level as you, the same profile as you. And that is where I feel non-engineers will get a benefit. So if you are thinking कि बस ऐवी वो लोग डाल देते हैं, hypocrisy है, calls आने दो. Calls में do not be surprised if as a non-engineer there are a lot more people who get it, and then फिर से वो आएगा. Calls के बाद converts आने दो, वहाँ पे देखेंगे actual game क्या होती है, कितने लोग convert कर पाते हैं. But I would say do not talk about hypocrisy, do not talk about diversity, because the actual game of diversity will start once we get into the analysis of every IM ka criteria and the 35 to 40% that they have given to profile. Because उस 35 to 40% को make up करने में काफी मेहनत लगेगी ऐसे पेपर में. लास्ट ईयर में इंजीनियर क्वांट में 16-17 क्वेश्चन कर सकता था. इस ईयर वही स्टड इंजीनियर प्रोबेबली 12-13 क्वेश्चन से ज्यादा नहीं कर पाएगा, और वो नॉन इंजीनियर जो क्वांट में उतना अच्छा नहीं था वो सेम 5-6 क्वेश्चन पे होगा. लास्ट ईयर 10 क्वेश्चन का डिफरेंस, इस ईयर 6 क्वेश्चन का डिफरेंस रह जाएगा. सो वी डू नॉट नो, लेट्स वेट एंड सी एग्जैक्टली क्या इंपैक्ट उसका होता है. डू नॉट लूज होप्स. Okay, do go ahead, use the score calculator so that we are able to predict accurately. Let's help you out a little in terms of what is the plan to and what you should be doing going forward. What are the exams which are upcoming, right?
Write them.
So let Gaurav sir once again go ahead and write them. What are the exams upcoming? For some of you all, NMAT is upcoming. For some of you all, I hope few of you all have written it. So for few, NMAT is there. SNAP is upcoming. राइट. स्नैप 10th को है, 17th को है, 22nd को है. तो स्नैप तो तीनों अटेम्प्ट्स है, एंड क्या है आप तीनों लिख सकते हो, बेस्ट ऑफ 3 है. फोकस वहां पे जाना चाहिए. जैट इज अपकमिंग 7th of January को है. सो अभी इसकी बात करते हैं. माई कैट भी है बीच में, बाद में भी आएगा. अभी इन 3 की बात करते हैं. लेट्स फोकस ओवर द नेक्स्ट 40 days कि हम लोग को करना क्या चाहिए. यू हैव स्नैप एंड एनमैट प्रिडोमिनेंटली ओवर द नेक्स्ट 15 days. या अगर आपने लिया नहीं, आप ले रहे हो. स्नैप फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट मोस्ट प्रोबेबली ले रहे होगे. So SNAP last year, compared to last year was slightly tougher. But when we say tougher, do not compare it to what you've seen in CAT. Do not compare it to. फिर से आके बोलोगे सर आपने CAT भी बोला था ऐसे होगा, देखो क्या हुआ. भाई स्नैप में वो हो नहीं सकता. 1 घंटे का पेपर है, 60 क्वेश्चन होते हैं, 60 मिनट होते हैं. There will be a lot of direct questions. This is the right time for you to go back, look at the topic test, do all easy level questions, do all moderate level questions. Write all the snap mocks. The OMET classes which are going on for some of you all, attempt that. For a few of you all who were there in a full length course of CAT, your classes are over. Look at the OMET specific material, which means look at your grammar questions. Because 15 question जो verbal के आते हैं, RC आता है नहीं. It's predominantly grammar. A little bit of verbal in terms of parajumble, but predominantly grammar and vocab. So go through all of those sessions. Grammar and vocab is very, very important. You will barely get any sets in LR now. You will get singlets, a lot of singlets. What are singlets? एक वो वाला होता है, there are 20 people, I am 5th from the end and 13th from the beginning, total number कितना है, वो arrangement वाला, ordering वाला, those sort of questions. So go back to those sort of questions, start सॉल्विंग देम, स्टार्ट अंडरस्टैंडिंग. ब्लड रिलेशन वाले क्वेश्चन स्टार्ट सॉल्विंग देम, स्टार्ट अंडरस्टैंडिंग हम का है. वो टाइप में जाओ. वेन डायग्राम के 4 का सेट आए वो नहीं होगा. गेम्स एंड टूर्नामेंट 4 का सेट आए वो नहीं होगा. अरेंजमेंट आ सकता है 2 या 3 क्वेश्चन का एक सेट, बट दैट्स इट. So that is what Snap would be like. Quant direct hoga.
Actually, that has been the problem over the years. You would see that the students who are preparing for CAT, writing a lot many mocks, and they start feeling that now we are prepared for any other exam as well. Because we have prepared for CAT, we have written the mock of CAT. So it's, if I give you an analogy, it is like that I have learned how to drive a car. Now I can drive a truck as well. I can drive, an aeroplane as well. So they all have different flavor to it. If you talk about Snap exam, not only that, you probably might say that I prepared for CAT. What is Snap for me? It's too easy. It's not about being easy or difficult, as we have been talking about this before as well. Even in CAT exam, today you might be feeling very demotivated. I have scored very low. I have scored very low. Arey, but if that low is better than 95% of the people, that is not low then. Ultimately, what matters is percentile. Similarly, in Snap, you would be very happy to write the exam because it's an easy exam. But if it is easy, it is easy for all. So there also we have to prepare that way. So just by scoring good, that does not mean you are getting a good chance over there. And by scoring bad, it does not mean that your chances are wasted here. So please keep hopes with the CAT as well. But now CAT is over. Start preparing for Snap. Write all the mock tests which are Snap specific. If you are preparing for ZAT, write ZAT specific exams. Do not assume I'm prepared for CAT, I can do everything now. Please do not go with that. Mocks are very important. Analysis is very important. As Gautam sir said, there are many different areas which actually do not appear in CAT, and they are appearing in Snap and ZAT and all. So just focus upon all those areas.
As far as Snap is concerned, I would say that there will be a drastic change in level of difficulty as well as the type of questions, as well as the topics from which the questions
and
are asked.
speed at which you have to solve.
Yes. So verbal RC, if we'll talk about, a lot of grammar will be there.
No RC.
No RCs. Okay. And logical reasoning, there will be different topics like coding, decoding, blood relations, direction senses, odd one out.
Even critical reasoning.
Critical
statement
reasoning.
assumption, statement
Right.
conclusion.
Yes. A lot of
inference.
questions.
In fact, in reasoning, Snap gives, very vague questions also sometimes. So
Yes.
you have seen the previous year papers, Candle 1, that honeybee wala question, star plus.
Star plus.
Right. So one time we have 5, 6, 7 alphabets are there, right? And the coding is that you have to odd this and this, square that, multiply that. That's what the logic
Right.
was.
Coding and decoding.
That can happen in Snap.
Sequence and series के अलग
Sequence
अलग
and series,
different
अजीब-अजीब।
logics are applied. क्वांट की अगर बात करें, क्वांट में a lot of direct questions will be there. जो difficult topics हैं, functions, graphs, there is no need to even look at those. अगर आता भी है question logarithm से, तो straight forward easy question आएगा. A lot of arithmetic.
Shortcut might work here.
Yes,
जो
yes.
sitters में shortcuts लगते हैं ना, formula based या concept based, उस पे focus करना थोड़ा.
And one very important thing, like in CAT, you will not see a lot of modern maths, a lot of geometry. This is not the case in Snap.
Yes,
So in Snap, numbers के questions मिलेंगे तुम्हें, permutation combination के questions मिलेंगे, as well as geometry, and they are equally important as compared to algebra and arithmetic. Okay, so prepare all these things, but the level of difficulty will be low.
So two things here. Number one, if you are enrolled with us in our full-time course, in the CAT full-fledged course, already all of these sessions would have happened. ZAT specific DM sessions will also happen for you specifically. Vocab, grammar, all of that has happened already, so don't worry about it. For some of you all, what did IIM Lucknow convenience say about paper being tough? भागेश मजाक कर रहे थे यार तुमसे, हम तुम्हें बता रहे थे कि ऐसी सिचुएशन आ गई कि हम भी बोल रहे हैं क्या चल रहा है, इतना सीरियसली मत लो. Coming back to where I was, which is, for some of you all who have not enrolled in that full-fledged course, do enroll in the OMET course. There is a specific OMET, other management entrance test course. I would urge you to go ahead and enroll in that. Go through the sessions there. The sessions are predominantly aimed at the OMET course. Now, I think in all that Gaurav sir said, one place or one section where you will see the most difference in Snap, NMAT as compared to, an exam like CAT is in English. And the main reason for that is English in CAT is comprehension based completely. Whereas English in exams like NMAT and Snap, and more so Snap, is grammar and vocab based. अब आप लोग ने grammar last 6 महीने से देखा ही नहीं होगा. क्लास अटेंड कर ली पर उस पर कोई लगाया नहीं, रेन एंड मार्टिन खोला नहीं, prepositions याद नहीं. वही होगा. That will be the crux. That will be the difference of about 5 to 6 marks out of 15 that comes in grammar or comes in verbal in Snap. So please ensure, I am requesting all of you, all upcoming exams require grammar and even ZAT requires it. ZAT requires grammar and vocab. So do ensure grammar and vocab is given enough weightage by you in your preparation, which you've not done till now. It's going to be a drastic difference. And अगर grammar के rules आपको नहीं पता, basics नहीं पता, then this is the right time to start with that and go through all of that. One topic which is most important is prepositions. मतलब जितने क्वेश्चन उससे आएंगे शायद और किसी ना आए, preposition जरूर कर लेना, ठीक है? So to keep that in mind, so I would urge all of you all to enroll in the OMET course. The way to prepare for these exams: attend the live classes, OMET wala. If you were in the full-fledged course, go and revise the classes which have happened in grammar, vocab and other sessions. So attend classes. Topic tests, I'm repeating. Easy, moderate wale topic tests. Jaldi solving. Tarun sir just stated. This, exam is going to be about 60 questions, 60 minutes. You'll probably attempt about 50-55 questions. You're still operating at roughly about 1 minute 10 seconds per question. That is the speed. उतनी देर में तो आज CAT के questions reading भी नहीं हुई थी एक 1.5 मिनट में, जितने में आपको read करके solve कर देना पड़ेगा. That is the difference that you will see in this exam. Do prepare for it. So, and then obviously mocks, please write as many as possible, as that is going to help you. Some of you preparing for ZAT, okay? Number one, there are two kinds of students. Number one is who are preparing for Snap and then ZAT. मैं बोलूँगा next 8-10 दिन please Snap को अच्छे से कर लो. ZAT को 10 के बाद उठाना, ठीक है? Those who are looking at only ZAT, please start ASAP. Mocks are live on the BYJU'S exam prep app. Start taking them. DM oriented sessions of ZAT will start, but they will start so that it's done for everybody together after the first Snap slot, which means after the 10th of December, we're going to have DM oriented sessions. There's going to be a crash course on YT as well. But for the OMET students, there are a lot more sessions, different sessions which would be happening on the app. Do join the OMET course if you've not already to attend those sessions and understand kya hai. DM is a game changer in ZAT. Trust me on that. Truer words have never been spoken. Okay. DM is not going to be easy in ZAT. Okay. Vikrant sir, your take for students on a little bit of English and what they should be doing probably over the course of
nothing much. Just attend our YouTube live sessions. Turn up on app. We'll have. So you remember we've taken you through tons and tons of practice sessions here as well as on the app. So whether you are an enrolled student at BYJU'S exam prep or not, these are platforms where just be around. So Gautam sir talked about, prepositions, grammar, this, that. Don't worry. Hum hai yaar, we manage. Okay. But do start paying attention to, apart from grammar and vocabulary, of course, a bit of critical reasoning, because you need it for ZAT and NMAT. You get direct questions there, and that will also indirectly help you in decision making. So start with these areas after taking a breather for maybe tomorrow, and then join us for more of these sessions. We'd give you adequate practice, adequate revision. Be here with us. We'll take care of it.
Perfect. I think that's the best way to end it. Do not let CAT be a dampener. For all you know, the way CAT has gone, you might be very, very surprised. CAT 2016 में यही हुआ था. फर्स्ट टाइम जब वो DILR डिफरेंट वे से आने लग गया था एंड ऑल, लोगों को लगा था पता नहीं क्या होगा, हमने DILR बहुत कम क्वेश्चंस किए हैं, ज़्यादा कुछ होगा नहीं, एंड सो ऑन एंड सो फोर्थ. दैट इज वेयर द प्रॉब्लम इज, एंड when it came eventually, when the marks came, people were shocked and surprised. अरे DILR इतने कम में 99 percentile आ गया. I think this time also people will be pleasantly surprised by the scaling that you would see. And those of you sitting here thinking मेरा 45, 50, 55, 60 आएगा, भाई surprise मत होना. हम लोग ने बोला है 65 पे 99 आ गया, तो I will not be surprised. And hence I'm saying do not worry too much about it. Sir, ZAT के लिए GK कहाँ से पढ़ना है? ZAT के लिए GK important नहीं है. Having said that, GK के सेशंस ऑलरेडी चल रहे हैं, वो चलते रहेंगे ऐप पे, एंड GK की कंपेंडियम भी आपके ऐप पे आपको मिल जाएगी, ठीक है? सो यू कैन डू दैट. But that's about it, I think, from all of us here. And our entire team is also here. I think as the entire team, we would like to wish all of you, we've got the entire team here. Why don't you all come in? So everybody, you are thinking, who brought YT to you? Here is Abhishek. He's been sitting here since 5 a.m. You would have seen the live, thing that was going on during the first slot, countdown, timer, everything. So you can thank Abhishek for that, for what was happening. Entire YT analysis in terms terms of the PPTs and everything, we didn't do anything. We just go write the exam and then यहाँ आके हम बोल देते हैं. वो PPT बनाना, PPT कैसी लग रही है, आप लोग को notifications दाना, आप लोग सब आ रहे हो. This is the team: Anjali, Aditi, Tanishka, the person who's sets up your courses online, and ensure it's done. Ved, Avinash, this is the entire team, and just like we said, hope you all had a good day. To them also, I hope they were able to do justice to what you all deserved, and justice to the kind of experience that you had today. And from all of them, all the very best. Do go ahead, like the video, ताकि their goals are achieved, and eventually go ahead and do join us for upcoming all UMED sessions. All the best.
All the best, guys.
All the best. Close for this.